Straight all day.
Now tuned in to the best master class in the class business. This is the show where you learn the discipline of showing up day after day, discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, and putting yourself out there, even when the success you have expected to achieve has yet to occur. And on top of all this, to give you a little bit more, a lot more. This is the personal initiative that moves you, me, anyone else out there to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And we put all this together in one bundle, one package, one mindset, one method, one philosophy, one book, one show, one masterclass. It is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic, fast implementation. This is a skill that you must learn. This is a skill that you must cultivate. If you already have the skill, that means you need to keep using it. You need to sharpen it and keep making it better. This is a skill in which if you have this in your game, you need to continue working on your game. This is a skill that if you have it, you need to use it as often as possible. Fast implementation. In other words, putting things into action very quickly and efficiently in life. It's a very important thing, and we're going to talk the why and the how of it today. Now, I told you back in masterclass number 601 that slow learners get left to die. They get left to perish on their own, and the vultures come eat you while you're still alive. In masterclass number 842, I told you to take advantage of opportunities quickly, because if you don't, those opportunities will take advantage of you, and they will move on to someone who was able to seize them while you were thinking about them and contemplating and trying to figure out what to do. I told you in masterclass number 1380 to adapt to change quickly, that when things change and things aren't the same as they used to be, you better be ready to move. You better stay on your toes and be ready to adjust to those changes, because the changes will not adjust to you. You must adjust to them, or they will just leave you behind. Or you'll be one of those slow learners that gets left to die, and the vultures, well, again, they'll come eat your flesh, and every day it'll grow back a little bit more, and they'll come back and eat it all over again. Now, why all of these? Why did I tell you about all of these masterclasses? Why have I made all these masterclasses talking about the speed of implementation, of change, of learning, of getting new information and doing something with it? Why do I keep talking about this so many times over the years? I'm going to tell you why. Because the universe responds to speed. In fact, the universe not only responds to speed, the universe demands speed. It demands that things happen quickly. It demands that when something changes, you be on your toes and ready to change with it, because if you don't, is going to make changes, is going to enforce change on you, and that change you probably will not be very comfortable with. When resources are limited in life, everybody can't win at the same time. Now, there are times when resources are abundant and everybody can win, but there are also times when it's a zero-sum game. Some people are going to win and everybody else is going to lose. When those resources are limited and everybody can win, those who move the quickest and get things done the quickest are usually the ones who end up winning. And today is about the implementation of whatever change, whatever information, whatever moves need to be made. That's what we're talking about here today. So let me give you a definition of this word, implementation. It is the process of putting a decision or a plan into effect. In other words, execution. Speed of execution, speed of putting a decision. You decided you're going to do something. How long does it take you between the time you decide and the time you actually start doing it? You made a plan. How long does it take you between the time you write out the plan and the time you actually start working the plan to figure out where the holes are in your plan? Because none of us is perfect at planning. To figure out where the holes are in your plan and then fix those and then continue to execute. How long does it take you between the time you think about it and the time you actually do it? In other words, you got to learn fast, and it's both learning fast and putting the learned knowledge to work for producing results. That's today's subject. If you're not doing that right now, or you feel like you could be better at it, then you're in the right place at the right time. I suggest that you take notes. Point number one, today's topic once again is fast implementation. Number one, when you learn something new, the longer it takes you to put that new thing into action, the less likely that you will ever put it into action. Let me say that one once more. When you learn something new, the longer it takes you to put that new knowledge into action, the less likely that you will ever put that new knowledge into action. And let me tell you why. Because human beings, we are creatures of habit, and because of our mind-body connection. I'll explain further. When you're excited about something new that you just learned, That's the time to implement it. That's the time when you are most likely to implement it. That's the time you will implement most efficiently, most quickly, and it'll probably produce the best result when you're excited about it right there in that moment, because you got the positive momentum mentally to working with your body. That's the mind-body connection. That's the time to implement something as soon as you learn about it. Immediately. The longer you wait between the time you learn about something and you're thinking about it and you're excited about it and it's fresh on your mind and you actually doing it, the longer you wait, the less excited you become, the more old habits take over from that excitement of the moment and clouds your excitement, destroys your excitement maybe, and then the idea is no longer fresh on your mind. And when you do finally remember about it later on, a day later, a week later, a year later, the initiative that you had, that spark that you had in your mind about it being new, that's gone because it ain't new anymore. And you know what happens to that idea? RIP, is dead. Because you waited too long to do something about it. So here's what you need to get from this, if you didn't get it already. The moment that if you really want to put new ideas into place, you really want to put new initiatives into action, and when you get new information, you want to start actually doing something with it instead of just gathering knowledge that is completely useless to you because you haven't done anything with it. Here's what you got to start doing. When you learn something new, when you get a new idea, when you get excited about some new initiative, you must figure out a way to put it into action immediately. Not next week, not 3 weeks from now, not write it down, I'll get back to it when I get home. You need to figure out a way to put it into action immediately so that you're somehow, some way committed to that new information, that you'll actually do something with it. The challenge that many of us have is that we get new information, put it to the side, and then we allow our old habits and routines, the things that we brought with us that day, to take over. They fill up the space. This is Parkinson's law, the amount of space that is given for any task to be done, you will figure out a way to fill that space just because it's available. You got 10 minutes to do something, you'll take 10 minutes. You got 10 hours, you'll take 10 hours, do the exact same thing. So if you give yourself space to one day get around to that thing that you thought of, all your old habits and routines will fill up that space. It's just a law of being human. You got to put it into action immediately. Interrupt your normal habits. Interrupt your normal routines. Do something to shake things up by doing that different thing. That's when you give yourself the opportunity to maybe implement that new idea, that new initiative, that new thought that you have, whatever it may be. The longer you wait, the less chance is actually going to happen. If you think right now about some ideas that you've had that you never put into place, if you got a place you write down ideas for things you could do, I'm sure if you start looking through it, you'll see a whole lot of ideas that you had that you never actually implemented. You're like, damn, I forgot that I had that idea. I never did anything with that idea. This is what happens. Ideas die if they're not acted on. All right, they have very short lifespans if they're not put into use in somehow, some way immediately. There are some exceptions, some ideas that last. They got a longer shelf life. You can sit them on the shelf and eventually come back to them, and you can still get something done with it. Most of us and most of our ideas don't have much shelf life. All right, you don't put them into action immediately, forget about it. They're dead. Point number 2. Today's topic is speed of implementation. Taking your new ideas, your new plans, your new decisions, and putting them to use immediately. Execution. Point number 2. The world is always changing, evolving, and moving. We know this, right? So if you're not doing the same, I'm pretty sure your competition is. People who are competing with you for money, time, space, jobs, attention, they're changing, they're evolving, they're moving. If you're not, they are. And when you two meet, they're going to beat you. We are all in an attention economy, right? You're not only competing against the other models out there, or the other podcasters, or the other bloggers, or the other doctors, or the other authors, or whatever it is you do. You're not just competing against other people who do the same thing that you do. You're competing against anyone who also wants or needs people's attention to do their thing. So for example, when you listen to this show right here, yes, I'm competing against anybody else who creates anything that goes in your ear, because you probably can't listen to both of us at the exact same time. But at the same time that I'm competing against them, I'm also in competition against Netflix. I'm in competition with your email inbox. I'm in competition with any humans who are in your physical space who might start talking to you or want to strike up a conversation. I'm in competition with anybody on YouTube. I'm in competition with whatever's going on in your neighborhood around the corner. It might be a parade that you want to go watch. I'm in competition with anyone or anything that could be asking you for your attention. Because if they have your attention, that means I don't. So you're in competition with everyone who needs attention in order to do their thing. Netflix, competitor. The mall, competition. Stasis, the state of doing nothing. That's also competition. If you want someone to watch your video and they're sleeping, you're competing against sleep. You're competing against them being tired. All of these things are competition, and you got to beat them. Every smartphone app. How many apps you got on your smartphone? Every single one of them is competition to anything that's not an app on the phone. If your competition is implementing new strategies today and you're not, that means they're beating you in the race. If you look at the apps on your smartphone, how often do you see one of those apps just automatically updating? Like every day you see apps automatically updating. Why? Because those engineers, those tech geeks at these companies, they understand they got to continue to implement. They got to continue to change. They got to continue to make edits to their products and services in order to keep people's attention. If they don't have their attention, they can't get anything else that comes from having people's attention, such as a review or a subscribe or a purchase or anything else. You can't get any of those if someone's not paying attention to you at all. So you got to make sure you're always implementing, putting your new plans into action immediately, execution, getting them done and getting them done right and getting them done efficiently. That means done right and done quickly at the same time. The longer it takes you to learn how to use something new or how to implement something new or how to figure out a challenge, how to figure out the solution to a problem, the longer it takes you to figure it out, the more you're losing the race, the further behind you fall in that race. Nobody is slowing down to help you when you're losing in the race. All they're going to do is speed past you and say, all right, another one bites the dust. That's one less person I got to compete with. Now let me take care of all these other people who haven't slowed down yet. Slow learners, ladies and gentlemen, they were able to hold up class when you were in middle school. Slow learners don't hold up class in real life. In real life, if you're a slow learner on the job, what usually happens is they fire you. Or they go find somebody who isn't a slow learner. They go find somebody who can figure it out quickly. They go find someone who doesn't need it to be explained to them 3 times. They're going to explain it once, and if you don't get it, okay, we're going to find somebody who does get it. All right, we don't need you. We don't have time. It's not that they're mean, not that they're bad people, not that they don't want to invest in you. It's just that they just don't have time to teach a slow learner. In life, you got to be a fast implementer. And this is why, as I talked about in one of the earlier master classes, when you show up to a new place, you got to be ready to hit the ground running. You got to be prepared ahead of time. You want to impress them from the gate, already know what's going on before you get there. Already know what to expect and prepare for what to expect. So when they give you your first assignment, you already know that it's coming and you already know how to deal with it. And now they're like, wow, okay, this person's a fast implementer. They're going to give you more responsibility, which eventually is going to lead to a higher position, more status, a stronger reputation, more money, whatever it is that you're after. In the NFL, when quarterbacks get drafted often, or sometimes, I won't even say often, sometimes the quarterback will be but told that you're not going to play this first season. We got a veteran quarterback who's already been here, the incumbent. You are the quarterback of the future, Mr. Rookie, but you're going to spend this whole first season on the sideline, basically watching this other quarterback play. You're going to be in all quarterback meetings. You're going to learn the playbook. You're going to see what we do in practice every day. And you're going to take this year basically as a learning year so you can shorten or fix your learning curve coming from college football to NFL football, because it's a whole different ball game. There's levels to this shit, rookie. You're going to spend a whole year doing that, figuring it out. And then when it's your turn to play, you got to know that playbook, whatever play the coach calls, because we got 200 plays in our playbook. I don't know how many plays the NFL team has on average. Let's say there are 200 plays in a playbook. When you get in the game, the coach is going to call a play. You better know what that play is, know exactly where the ball's supposed to go, and do it right, execute it properly. If you can't do that, then you won't be a quarterback in this league for very long. And actually, we're not even talking about in the game. This is in practice. The first practice, the coach is going to call a play. And if you have no idea what that play is, the coach is going to scream at you, ask you, what the hell are you doing? Tell you if you want to be a professional, you want to play in this league, you better learn the playbook and know what the hell is going on. And every player at every position understands this. That's part of the job when you're in the NFL. And in other businesses, other industries, there are standards like this that you got to understand. You got to be ready to implement anything that gets thrown at you, anything that changes, anything that evolves. You got to be ready to be up to speed with it immediately. Before you show up, before the first day. And there are some quarterbacks in the NFL, they get drafted, they go straight into playing. They immediately play their first day out there. And they got to know the playbook. They got to know every play. They got to know every player's job, all the wide receivers. They got to know where the wide receivers are supposed to be and where they're supposed to go, right? Because in football, the quarterback knows what route each wide receiver is running. So the quarterback can anticipate where the receiver is going before the receiver even goes in that direction and throws the ball to that spot. So the ball is waiting for them when the receiver gets there. The quarterback needs to know, where's the running back supposed to go? Where's the tight end supposed to go? What is each one of the offensive linemen supposed to be doing? And you got to know what the defense is doing. You got to look at the defense, gauge what you think they're doing based on the way that they're aligned, because the defense doesn't tell you what they're going to do, right? When you're on offense, you got to gauge what they're doing before you snap the ball. Then when the ball is snapped, you have to read. Usually a play in the NFL, a quarterback has to make a decision within 5 seconds, usually less than that. Read what the defense is doing, what they're trying to disguise from you. They don't want you to know what they're doing. You got to figure it out. Then make a decision, and hopefully it's not the wrong decision. You make too many wrong decisions as a quarterback, you're going to get booed out of the stadium and maybe ran out of the NFL because you can't implement fast enough. Can you imagine having a job like that and everybody's watching you and everybody knows who you are and everybody's going to have an opinion? You better learn how to implement quick. And understand that you don't have to be an NFL quarterback for everything I just said to apply, metaphorically speaking. You may not have as many people who know about it, but you still got to be able to implement, because if you don't, you will fail and you'll be out of a job. There's only so many times they're going to let you fail before the powers that be, says, all right, we got to get you out of here and bring in somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. This ain't school. School's over, ladies and gentlemen. In school, again, everything will slow down for you to catch up. In life, everything will speed up while you get left behind. That's a good one right there. Let me say that one more time. In school, everything slows down for you to catch up. In life, everything speeds up to leave you behind. Point number 3. Today's topic is fast implementation, the speed that you need to execute whenever you get new information or make new plans or make a decision. Point number 3, the ability to interpret and understand and fill in the blanks is expected of you. In other words, in most of life, people are not going to explain concepts in detail the way that I do here in this class. Here, I take everything that I say to you and I break it down to the smallest common denominator and explain it in such a way that you understand exactly what I mean. I explain it, then I break it down and I build it back up. That's why I call this a master class. This is not a podcast. This is not the normal, back and forth banter bullshit that people do in their media that they create, their content that they create. This is a class because I'm breaking it down and explaining it to you in detail so that you can't say that you don't understand. In real life, this is real life, but in real life, quote, real life, close quote. All right, people aren't doing this. They're not going to break everything down in detail and explain it to you. They say, what the hell am I going to explain it to you for? This person over here, we hired him the same day we hired you. We don't need to explain it to him. So what we need you for? All right, you're fired. We're keeping him. And whatever we were paying you, we're going to pay him his and yours, because now he's doing the work of 2 people. In life, whatever you do, you will be expected to understand what's being said to you, even though it's not being explained, to interpret what's not being said, even though nobody said it, and fill in the blanks of everything that wasn't put in there. All the details that were left out, you're expected to figure out what those details are and know them and then execute on them. That's expected of you. That's not a want. That's not a nice to have. That's what they expect you to be able to do. If you can't do that, then you're not suited for the job and you won't be there for long. People will not explain concepts in detail the way that you can get in school or the way you can get if you sign up for a course or you hire a coach or consultant. So this is the reason why people invest in themselves, is so that you can get the details that aren't being given to you at your main workspace. These details, you get them by hiring a coach, by finding a consultant, by going to seminars, by going to conferences, by signing up for master classes like the one that you're listening to right now. Taking online courses, reading books. This is the reason why you do this stuff. That quote extra stuff that you do that you don't have to be doing. You do that so that you can fill in the blanks, interpret stuff, and understand what's not being said. People will give you the same information that it takes me 25 minutes, or I choose to take 25 minutes to explain these things to you. They'll take 3 minutes to explain it to you, and they won't even say it twice. They won't repeat themselves, and it's not recorded, so you can't listen to it again. That's how they do it. Listen, I could take everything that I've ever talked about on this show and these master classes, and I could condense them all down to 3 to 5 minutes. I could, but I break it down and explain it to you so that everybody understands exactly what's going on and there's no confusion whatsoever. That's the value that I'm offering you. In quote, real life, close quote, they ain't doing that. They're like, all right, I told you one time already. You didn't get it? All right, well, look, all these other people, they got it. You better catch up. Now you got to work on your own time, on your own investment, what you can do to catch up. All right, you can't do that on work time. You can't do that on company time. You got to do it on your own time. It's sink or swim out here in the professional world. And if you can't swim, as Snoop Doggy Dogg said, you are bound to drizzle. In basketball, A coach will call a basic play set, for example, in practice, the first day of practice, first day of tryouts, and the coach will expect you to know what that play set is. I get players who ask me questions like this often, and they'll be maybe a high school level player. They'll say something like, I was in practice, my first practice with this team, and the coach called a play. He said, I want y'all to run the flex offense, or I want you to run a motion offense, or I want y'all to play a 1-2-2 zone. But the coach never explained how to run a flex offense, or how to run motion, or how to run a 1-2-2 defense. So the player is saying to me, Dre, how am I supposed to know how to do these things? The coach never explained it. I don't know what to do. And I felt like a dummy because the coach was looking at me crazy because I didn't know what to do. But he never explained it. What am I supposed to do, Dre? I said, well, what you're supposed to do is that 6 years ago, you were supposed to have learned what that was, and you were expected to know it when you walked in the door today. That's why the coach was looking at you crazy. He expected you to understand it without explaining it to you. That's the way it works, people. They expect you, whoever you are working with or for, they expect you to understand things without having to explain things. If you need things to be explained to you, you got to go to the remedial class. All right. And people usually don't pay money to those who need to go to the remedial classes. All right. No disrespect to anybody who's been in those spaces, but you get what I'm saying here. You can't be a slow learner out here. If you are a slow learner, what you need to do is invest in yourself to not be a slow learner. Invest in speeding up that learning process of yours. Go get the enrichment. Go hire the coach. Go sign up for the course. Go read the books. Do what you got to do. Take a weekend class. Do what you got to do to not be a slow learner, because life will leave you behind when you learn too slow. You will drown in the water out there. If you're behind the rest of the group, it's on you to create that extra time and find somebody who will help you catch up. And if you don't go explicitly asking for it, explicitly looking for that, it ain't going to happen. And you'll get left behind by life. And I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want that to happen to you. So take everything that I'm saying here today either as a confirmation of what you've been doing or a warning for what is coming to you in the future. And understand that even if you feel like you're a fast learner right now, it don't mean you're going to stay a fast learner, because information changes. There's new information coming out tomorrow that you don't know about right now. How long will it take you to figure it out? How long will it take you to realize that you need to know it? And how long will it take you to start using it once you do know it? These are all questions that need answers as we recap today's topic, which is fast implementation, putting things into action quickly in life, the why and the how. I told you in 601, Masterclass 601, slow learners get left to die. 842, take advantage of opportunities quickly. 1380, adapt to change quickly. Why? Why do I talk about this stuff? Because the universe responds to, and it in fact demands, speed of all of us. When resources are limited, not everybody can win at the same time. Those who move the quickest win. Implementation is defined as the process of putting a decision or plan into effect. In other words, execution. In other words, both learning fast and putting that knowledge to work for producing results immediately. Point number one, when you learn something new, the longer you take to put it into action, the less likely you'll ever put it into action, because we're creatures of habit. We usually get things done immediately when we're excited about them. But the longer we let that excitement sit on the shelf, the less it's exciting anymore. We forget it even exists, and then it withers up and dies right there on the shelf. That's the time to implement immediately. The longer you wait, the less excited you'll be about it. The more your old habits take over, and it's pretty much over. Dead. Point number two. The world is always changing, evolving, and moving. If you're not doing the same, I guarantee anyone who is competing against you is. And we're in the attention economy. You are not just competing against other graphic designers or other YouTubers or other bloggers. You're competing against anyone who asks for people's attention. Meaning Netflix is competition. The mall is competition. Doing nothing is competition. Sleep is competition. Every smartphone app is competition. If your competition is implementing new strategies every day and you're not, they are beating you in the race. How often does Netflix put a new documentary or a new show on the Netflix app? Damn near every day. They probably put multiple new material on that app every damn day. How often is one of the smart apps on your smartphone updating with a new version? Every single day. How often are you upgrading your own operating system? If it's not every day, you are losing the race right now if you can't read between the lines. See, this is the things you need to understand without me explaining it. Point number three. The ability to interpret and understand and fill in the blanks is expected of you. See, the way that I break things down and fill in the blanks and interpret stuff and explain stuff and break it down into detail and make sure you understand it and repeat myself over and over again. In real life, nobody's going to do this for you. In life, you got to go find somebody like me who's going to do this for you, and you got to invest in yourself in order to get it. Just like you invest in yourself to be listening to me right now. All right, you don't get this stuff for free. All right, you only got that at school. School is over. In school, everybody will slow down for you to catch up. In life, everybody will speed up to leave you behind, to die on the side of the road, and the vultures will come eat you. In life, it is sink or swim. If you can't swim, then you are bound to drizzle. In basketball, the coach will call a basic play set, and without explaining what the play set is, and expect everybody on the court to know what that play set is. And if you don't know, then you should have learned 5 years ago what it was. And if you didn't get that learning, then you better go figure it out on your own time before the next practice. If you show up again not knowing what it is, you won't be on the team anymore. If you don't go explicitly asking for the things that you're missing on your own time, on your own dime, life will leave you behind, and nobody's going to care. I don't know if anybody's even coming to your funeral. Work on your game. Dre all day.